Big movement talk today around Manchester United, with one midfield chase apparently blocked and another still bubbling away. Barcelona are also in the mix on a forward deal, while Arsenal, Liverpool, Inter, and Tottenham all feature in a busy slate of reports. And there's a couple of stories where the fee details are getting properly serious, so let's get into the latest. Let's start with the done deals. This one sounds like a closed door for Manchester United. Defensa Central report that Real Madrid knocked back a huge offer of $137 million, or €120 million, for Aurelien Tchouaméni before tying him down to a new contract, and AS say he's now set to extend for 5 years. The key point here is that Madrid refused to entertain United's approach, so the chase appears to be over. On the evidence in the reports, this is firmly in the completed or secured bucket from Madrid's side. Now, the hot rumours. Manchester United are being linked again with Roma's KONÉ, with team talk saying they're ready to try to strike a deal at around £50 million. The reporting also says KONÉ is keen to test himself in the Premier League, and that Juventus would be willing to sell for the right price. So there's a fee in the frame, there's motivation on the player side, and there's at least one other club named in the wider picture. Right now, though, this still reads as a serious move rather than anything finished. Barcelona have opened talks with Borussia Dortmund over Karim Adeyemi, and there's already an offer on the table. Luca Bendoni says the package is around €30 million, which works out at about £26 million, while ESPN also report the move has been made as Barcelona build their attack for next season. Sky add that the offer may not be enough to convince Dortmund, so this is clearly active but not straightforward. With Barcelona the only club named in the move, the next step depends on whether Dortmund soften their stance. Arsenal and Liverpool are both being linked with a big swing for BOUADDI, and Football Insider say both clubs are prepared to meet Lille's demands. The fee being discussed is as much as $134 million, or about £100 million to £106 million depending on the report, and the twist is that Lille want to keep him on loan for another season. So this is not a simple buy-and-go transfer, it's a deal structure with a loan-back attached. With both Arsenal and Liverpool involved, this looks ambitious and very live. Sky Sports say Mason Greenwood is close to joining Fenerbahce, with the Turkish club having put offers to both Marseille and the players' camp. That sounds more advanced than a casual link, because there are bids in the system and talks on both sides. The reporting doesn't mention a fee, but it does suggest Fenerbahce are actively trying to get it done. Marseille are still the current club in the story, but the momentum appears to be with Fenerbahce. The Sun report that Arsenal are ready to finalise a £35 million deal for Club Brugge's Christos TZOLIS. That's a pretty clear signal that this one has moved beyond mere interest and into the finishing stages. The report names Arsenal as the club pushing the move, with no rival destinations mentioned in this cluster. On this evidence, it's one to watch very closely, because the wording suggests the Gunners are trying to wrap it up. Gazzetta dello Sport say Curtis Jones has already agreed personal terms with Inter, and now it's down to the two clubs to reach an agreement. That's the kind of detail that usually means a deal has moved well past the opening conversation, even if the club-to-club side is still unresolved. Liverpool are still the current club, Inter are the destination being worked on, and there's no fee in the report. At this stage, the personal terms piece makes this one feel very live. Tottenham have made an offer for Randal Kolo MUANI, according to BBC Sport, but Juventus are said to remain favourites to sign him. That keeps Spurs in the race, while Juventus stay the side with the strongest position in the reporting. There's no fee quoted here, so the key detail is the offer and the competition rather than the price. With Tottenham pushing and Juventus leading, this is active, but the balance still seems to favour Turin. Newcastle have agreed a £51.5 million deal with Freiburg for Johan Manzambi, according to The Guardian, with Alex Crook also reporting that the club are close to an agreement. The report says Aston Villa could still try to hijack it, while personal terms have not yet been finalised. There's also a note that the move won't be completed while Switzerland remain in the tournament, so this is advanced but not yet over the line. On the current wording, Newcastle are ahead, but Villa are still lurking. Randal Kolo MUANI is also in the frame here, but this time Tutto Sports say Tottenham have made an offer and Juventus remain favourites, with the player having previously spent time on loan at both clubs in the wider story. That makes this a competing club situation rather than a settled one. There's no fee mentioned, so the emphasis is on which side can land him rather than how much it will cost. Tottenham are pushing, Juventus are leading, and the race still looks open. And finally, the one still on the radar. This one is more of a throwback than a live transfer chase, but BBC Sport quote Jurgen Klopp recalling how he once tried to sign Kylian Mbappé for Liverpool. Klopp says he was in a private plane with Mbappé and his family and that the aircraft was flying around in a circle at the time. There's no current bid or negotiation in the text, just the old Liverpool connection being revisited. So on today's slate, this sits only as a historical Liverpool link. Inter's chase for Trevoh Chalobah has been temporarily paused, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. The report says they're concentrating on other deals for now, and that Como will not try to take advantage of the delay because they've already reached a pact with Inter. That leaves Chelsea as the current club and Inter as the suitor, but with the momentum clearly on hold. For the moment, this is more monitoring than movement. If you want the daily transfer picture as it develops, subscribe and stick with us. We'll be back tomorrow with the next roundup.